Hi guys, Ryu here with another video, and this one is quite important. This is actually the mech that you're gonna be modeling in this course, and I want to point a few things. They're quite essential. All right, let's go to Eevee to look at it very quickly, and this is what we're gonna be going for in this course. Now, I don't want you to have a heart attack, okay? But this mech at the moment has 5.6 million polygons. It's a lot for some systems, so let me tell you how to make it really easy for literally almost any computer, right? Now, first of all, what I want to point out is that during the course, I will show you which elements are actually very heavy on performance and you can switch them off. So, for example, this neck alone is almost 2 million, okay? This one is extremely heavy piece of geo. Because it's a double-sided neck with bevels. Okay, this is all very high quality geo with perfect shading, by the way. Right, look at this shading, right? And it's curved and it's beveled, so you want that in your scene, but you want it turned off. So I created on a way, while creating this mech, a folder called neck and cables, right? So you can switch it off there. Now look at my geo went from 5.6 to 3.4, which is 2.2 million polys. Now this is still a lot, and most of this geometry is in cables, such as, for example, these ones, right? These ones are very heavy. If you go to edit mode, look at the density of these meshes, they're insane. Okay, so you can grab all these pipes, yeah, all of them, right, when you're working on this mech, and either not convert it into geometry or simply move them all to neck and cables, and my geo is gonna keep dropping, right, to much lower values. So you can find all these handles. Then again, another thing is the inserts. They also are quite massive. There's a lot of them. All these inserts are from HardOps, from a free pack. If you turn off the inserts, right, you're gonna drop another 600k, you see? So that's how you can lower down this insane amount of polygons. This one also could go to a neck and cable, right? Look how many we lost. We're at 2.7 now. So we're just going down and down. Stuff like, these ones probably are okay. But let me see here around these handles, all this stuff here, this all could go to neck and cables, and the geo keeps dropping, 2.6 now, right? Let me see here. In addition to all of this, right, what you could do is lower your bevels. Okay, so when you start working on this mech, instead of using 3 segmented bevels, use one segmented bevel. And how to do this is very easy. When you, let's say you create a cube, and I'm gonna add a bevel to it. So let's go to normal view, and I'm gonna add a bevel to it, right? And when I add bevel with HardOps, it adds 3 segments, you can see in the bottom, but I can scroll it down to 1 segment, okay? And then I'm going to add weight normals with Alt click on sharpen. Now you can see this, that you have a bevel in here, but the number of polys is extremely low. It's 1/3 of what you normally would have. And you could use this mid-poly beveling technique to bevel the whole mech. Now this whole mech has at least 3 segments of every single piece, right? And they're all live, so you could turn them off. Another thing is that you could switch off the bevels too, right? You could just simply turn them off, and it will look at the geo, 2.6 million. I turn bevel only on this part. I'm going down to 2.570. All these cuts, places where they're like like this one, for example. This one's probably gonna be insane. So let's remove the bevel on this one, and it's gonna go from 2.650 right to 2.521. So if you could switch off bevels, you can run them on a mesh, but you could switch them off. And when you turn off stuff in viewport, so like for example, I switched off these cables in my viewport, you see now it's a little bit laggy, but when I turn it off, it's much more smooth. Even if you switch off elements in viewport, they will be visible in render, because when you go to this tab here, you can enable this icon, this camera icon, and it will allow you to switch off and on things in render. So even if you cannot see them in viewport, you can still see them in render. So, you know, all this stuff here, right? All these could be moved to, you know, to cables, right? And, you know, your geo gonna keep dropping and keep dropping, okay? All these bits and pieces here, all these, they are all, you know, geometry monsters, okay? All these tiny bits here, all these cables, all of that, all these caps and, you know, connectors, they're insane for geometry, right? Look at our geo, 2.5 now from 2.670 or something. Like I said, this is the trick to this, you know, to getting your performance up and running. So first of all, create a folder and drop stuff there which you don't really need to see. You could split your scene into parts. We're gonna do this and divide this to main mech, cannons, and, you know, and legs, right? And these, by the way, are all decals. So we got quite a few decals running on this mech too. Okay, so that's how you can improve your performance dramatically. All right, so that's my advice to you guys. So if you're struggling with, you know, on a lower end machine, you can run this scene below 1 million very easily. You could even turn off bevels temporarily on your mesh, okay, and switch them back on, especially on elements that really are heavy, you know, like these, when there's a lot of cuts and bits, you know, like this element probably is going to be heavy on bevels too. Another thing that I want to mention is the add-ons, okay? Now, the only mandatory add-ons for this mech really is, they're not even mandatory. I mean, if you know Blender very well, you could do this without add-ons. You would struggle at certain points, but you could do this. Now, the only mandatory add-ons I would say it's Hardops, Box Cutter, and Machine Tools. The Machine Tools is a free add-on. I would highly recommend running Mesh Machine. You do not have to have it, but there are moments when I'm using it, and I'm using it, for example, to fix shading on this neck, okay, to do a normal transfer. But Josh has a video on his channel on how to do this without add-ons, and also, as far as I'm concerned, in his mech, he's actually performing normal transfer without add-ons, so you can actually look it up there. And if you went through the first course, you will know how it's done. So that's that. Now, decal machine is important because if I show you how many decals I'm running on this mech, you know, it's quite a few of them, right? These are all the decals, and they're really important because they bring a lot of details to this mech. Okay, so that's quite essential. So I would really suggest having decal machine and mesh machine running. However, add-ons like, for example, Kitops, they're going to be free. You can use the free version with the free insert pack for Hardops. You can also use the Cablerator, which I'm using to create these cables. You could technically do it manually, and also I'm showing in the video how to create cables manually. There are two methods of basically doing this. So you don't really need it, but I would highly recommend having it. And also there's another add-on I'm using, it's called Photographer, but you really don't need this as well. You could just easily increase exposure of the HDRI file manually, and I also show how to do this. So technically, you know, summing all these things up is you do need Box Cutter, Hardops, and machine tools. These are like, I would really not probably advise doing this course without these add-ons, but the other ones are probably, you know, they're not mandatory. You could get by without them. So anyway, guys, that's it for the prequel for this course. I wish you all the best. Good luck. It's a lot of fun. This mech is advanced. It's an advanced design. We're gonna talk a lot about design, about how to, you know, how to think while modeling to create appealing shapes and something that, you know, looks really cool and and interesting from any angle that you try to look at it, because that was the idea for this Mac, to make it look, you know, literally appealing from any angle, any focal length, anywhere you look from, you know, it should look decent and good. So that's the key to a good design. And we're going to talk about a lot of techniques that we use with add-ons or without add-ons. There is really a lot of materials covered in this part. So I hope you enjoy this, guys. I had great fun creating this Mac. Actually, I might make a video on me concepting before I started this Mac, because I was mocking a few concepts. I think I came up with like 6 or something, and then I landed on one and kind of liked it a lot and decided to go with it. And so there are, you know, there's kind of like a double blockout video. We do a mockout blockout, then we go into a more advanced blockout. So you will see this whole process is quite interesting. Anyway, guys, wish you all the best, you know, luck with the course, and thank you for purchasing it and supporting us. Really appreciate that, and have fun.